Okay, so it's easy to give the impression that these projects just proceed very straightforwardly from initial idea to finished product, but that isn't actually the case at all ever. Very rarely. The ones I've already shown just happen to be the exceptions because they're nice and neat and you can easily talk through them because I had the idea. I saw exactly what I wanted it to be like. I knew I could make it and I made it. That's almost never the case, as you will see. So. Photoshop tab browsing makes me want to peel my skin off, but let's try and make our way through these images. So yeah, I had this vibe of an image inspired by a book by Neil Stevenson called The Diamond Age. Essentially, in the future, Britain has franchised itself out and built these kind of tall artificial islands in the harbours of various cities around the world, which are kind of England land, if you like, this sort of stereotypical colonies, a bit like the Indian hill stations in India, which were built on high hills to simulate the kind of cool English climate. And they put them in all of these different harbours around the world, and they form a kind of trading interface, I guess, between the local culture and the giant kind of resurgent uh, British-ish empire, I guess. They kind of take their look and morality and so on from high Victorian era England. So I had this vibe of like, the kind of twee English village. This is like where I live. It all looks like this around here. But in the background, this giant futuristic city. I like the kind of juxtaposition of it, juxtaposition, something like that. Mix and match of the two elements. And I had this kind of image in my mind, but I couldn't quite, you know, get it out onto the page. So I went through all these research images, just trying to find like really twee, stereotypical English images, or I guess this looks more like Wales actually, but UK, Bobby, red telephone box, red pillar box, um, red double-decker bus, neoclassical architecture, an oak tree, a pub with a roof made out of straw, cool English stuff like that. Um, Trying to find an image that was all combined into um, a perspective that would also allow a huge city to rise in the background and a sea harbour was difficult. So it's like I had this image in my mind, but I couldn't quite flesh it out. So yeah, I spent ages and ages just going through all of these different images, trying to find the right combination of like twee architecture, essential Englishness, and then a nice prospect onto like a distant, potentially onto a distant city. So lots and lots of these crappy, hundreds of images before I could find the vibe that I wanted, and then you start, excuse me, painting on the images. Um, Isle of Wight, lots more pubs. This is basically what Cambridgeshire looks like. This is my home, so I have this kind of affection for this style of architecture, but it also represents like a really boring place. There's nothing to do, so I have a mixed kind of emotions towards it. That's another one, quite nice, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I really banged my head against this for ages, trying to find the right combination that lived up to the feel I had in my mind, and I still haven't really got it. This is very much still a work in progress. But here are some of the sketches. I like to do these real shit sketches at first, just to see if it's worth doing any more work on them. There's no point in doing this really like detailed, careful drawing if you decide that it's actually not working. So smash out these sketches as quickly as possible. Um, it was almost as if it was a search, trying to find the thing that your mind already sees, but you just can't quite grasp it. And you're just searching for all these different things to see how they match. Another one, another one, another one. Starting to get there. This is Gold Hill. I think it's in Essex, somewhere like that. It's very steep, cottagey hill. Another one. And that was starting to get somewhere now, and I felt this was potential, um, and I thought there was something you could actually kind of extract here. So this is the one I then decided to work on. This is how far it got, and I don't think I ever really finished it. I just sort of stepped away. And it just, I wanted to sort of talk about this one because it never really resolved. There was no nice, neat resolution at the end where I walked away going, yeah, fantastic. I'm really happy with that image. It just sort of petered out. So, don't be too perturbed if that's what happens to you too. It's normal.